Hello, everybody. What's up? And welcome to another episode of Poddywood. I am dropping that accent because I can't keep it up for too long. I am one of your co-hosts, Steve Hester. And joining me, as always, on the other side of the screen is...
Well, we've heard you can't keep it up that long. But other than that, I am Andrew Roger Carson. I am the other co-host. Glad to be back here for yet another week, and a very special week. Because, for those of you who tuned in last week, you witnessed at the end of the show, we did What's in the Box yet again. We pulled out two movies, Wedding Crashers and Back to the Beach. And this is very special because one of our regular guests that comes on is Tommy Hinckley, who's one of the stars of Back to the Beach. So, Tommy, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing good, fellas. How are you guys?
We're good. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and talk to us. This is great. It's great seeing you.
Right on.
Right on, dude.
Shrewd and thrifty too.
So, now that we have Tommy crashing the show, I think it's time to jump into the first of What's in the Box from last week, Steve. And that would be 2005's Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. For some reason, I wanted to say Luke Vaughn, but that's
Luke Wilson and Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
It's a story about two guys that spend the entirety of their summer flitting from one wedding to the next, completely uninvited, looking to score both free food and loose women. And everything comes to a head where they crash one wedding too many, and they end up falling in love. Or at least in Owen Wilson's case, Vince Vaughn ends up falling in something else entirely different. It's a very, very nicely shot, nicely paced, well acted, funny film from the early 2000s, in the similar vein of what you'd find things such as Zoolander or Dodgeball or anything really which had Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller, Will Ferrell. If you've seen one of those movies, you'll know the kind of tone that he's going for. Raunchy sex jokes with a heart, and you know that there's going to be a love story in there, and everyone's going to be coming towards it together at the end, and everyone's going to be lovely and happy. And because of that, and in spite of the fact that he does have some pretty funny moments, I got to admit, I thought it was rather predictable.
Why?
It's gonna be so much fun.
It's gonna be so much fun.
That's actually surprising, because I watched it again this week as well. And when I was watching it, I was like, this just feels like Meet the Parents with boobs. Lots of boobs.
There's a lot of boobs.
A lot of boobs. Before anybody puts it in the comments, no, that was not Isla Fisher nude. She had a body double for that scene.
Oh, man.
I know.
You're disappointed now, aren't you?
She wasn't averse to doing the nudity, but apparently in the original version of the script, she was like nearly nude in nearly every single scene. And she just said, well, the comedy is just lost with that character if she's always completely nude, which is a good way of putting it.
Yep, good point, too. True.
Don't ever leave me.
Ever.
Good. Because I'd find you.
I actually had met Isla Fisher once at a party.
Ooh.
And, Isla is not the most common name. And so when I met her, I said, and how do you pronounce your name? And she paused and she gave me like this look, like, you're kidding, right? And then she saw that I wasn't. And then she goes, Isla, like island? And I felt like the biggest dumbass ever. And I went, oh, yeah, of course. Do you need anything to drink? I'm going to go get something for me.
And that was the start of my drinking problem.
That's just not a common name, and you don't see it just those four letters by itself.
Funnily enough, I do actually have a very, very good friend of mine. His wife is called Isla. So, actually, while you're here, hi, Isla.
We're gonna be so happy together.
This film has the pairing of Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, who went and did pretty much nearly enough the exact same movie with The Internship, which was the Google movie.
It also starred Gru from Despicable Me.
Yes, it did. It did.
No, I mean Wedding Crashers.
Gru.
Yeah, the son of the.
God,
yes. He's dressed there in a black suit with a long black and grey scarf on at one point, and I just looked at my partner and went, "That's Gru."
A lot of people say that this is kind of the best performances that Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn did. I don't believe that. I think Owen Wilson, for me, the Royal Tenenbaums was probably the best thing he did. For Vince Vaughn, I was a big fan of The Breakup, the one he did with Jennifer Aniston. I thought he probably did his best work in that. And obviously this movie has Rachel McAdams as well.
Yeah.
Or as I commonly know her, Abby's favourite. Sure, Abby will love that one. Obviously from The Notebook. I've not seen it, and I get scowled at because I have still not seen The Notebook. It's not something I'm rushing out to see.
It's all right, neither we are the Not Seeing the Notebook Club. Right.
Yeah. But let's also praise the fact here that this was a very early role for Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, and doesn't he look fresh-faced?
He does. And this is something I wanted to bring up because apparently Bradley Cooper was hired during his audition. And I wanted to bring this up with Tommy. Exactly how rare is it that someone actually gets hired during their audition?
Gentlemen, everything okay?
Yeah, I would imagine that's pretty rare. I'm not a casting director, so I can't speak to just how actually rare it is factually, but I have really never heard of that because you have obligations to. Now, unless he happened to be time-wise, it just timed out. He was the last actor they were to see, and he nailed it. And they could just go, okay, look at you are the best we've seen. We don't have anybody else scheduled. The part's yours. But that's wise because they're still very often scheduled to see more people, and maybe even of some note. So to tell somebody that the part's theirs, and then have somebody come in and blow their doors off, the next day. That would create a huge mess. So yeah, I would imagine that's pretty rare.
Everything that they've told us is a complete fabrication.
But can we just say that is this the hottest Jane Seymour has ever been? I'm sorry. This is just every time I see her, and she's getting older and older every year, but you cannot tell. It looks like she's just getting younger and younger every year. But in this movie, it's probably the most daring. And the fact that Owen Wilson actually had to cup her bare breasts for an entire scene and look so uncomfortable doing it.
It really is. It's difficult as well.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I think probably since it came out, Wedding Crashers. But what was that like? I can't remember Christopher Walken and Jane Seymour, because Christopher Walken, if I remember correctly, is actually very tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then on the other side, Jane Seymour, very, very small.
I think most of the shots that they're in together, they're both sitting down.
Oh, okay.
That's true, actually.
Or one of them sitting down while the other one's kind of standing in the foreground or something like that. I don't honestly remember there's a single scene where the two of them were stood side by side.
Yeah, I wonder if that was on purpose, and I'll bet it was. Instead of asking someone of her stature, and by the way, yes, she does get, I think, sexier and hotter as she gets older. But someone of her stature to ask her to get on an apple box.
On a box, no.
Yeah, I think would be a little off-putting. So they're just like, well, let's just shoot her. Yeah.
A bit of false perspective, like in Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
I mention a link here, actually, between Walken and Seymour. They're two of the most memorable James Bond characters.
Yes.
Of Solitaire and Zorin.
That's it. Solitaire. I was trying to remember. Yeah, from Live and Let Die.
Most beautiful Bond girl.
It's great.
I can say this movie did get a little bit of infamy when it was released. This movie goes on record as getting complaints from U.S. Congress. Do you know why?
Why?
Enough boobs?
No. It got complaints from U.S. Congress due to the whole Purple Heart thing. Whereas they used the Purple Heart as a badge of honor to nail women. And around the time there was the federal law that was passed called the Stolen Valor Act. There's a federal law against displaying medals and things like that if it's a false display.
Mm.
So this did raise the ire of a lot of veterans groups in the US.
Yeah.
But they still released the movie anyway. And it was a huge hit. An absolutely huge hit. And today, here's the surprising thing for you,
everywhere
Steve.
at the time.
The Wedding Crashers is still the 6th highest grossing movie ever from New Line Cinema.
Wow.
Right. I'm guessing Lord of the Rings is like
the first 3 Lord of the Rings.
Thank you.
What are the other 2, do you reckon?
Oh god, what would be?
They're both sequels. I'll put it that way.
Both sequels.
What are we waiting for?
So the Lord of the Rings ones are the top grossing for New Line.
Okay.
So 1, 2, and 3. Then it would be Rush Hour 2.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
And in 5th place is Austin Powers in Goldmember.
Really? Goldmember?
Yes.
Did
Goldmember.
God, that was the worst one.
Oh, this is uncomfortable.
Moving on to our second movie now. And the reason, obviously, main reason why our guest is with us, this would be going all the way back to 1987 with Paramount Pictures' Back to the Beach. Now, in speaking with Tommy this week, and when I asked him to come on, amazingly enough, he's been asked to do quite a few things on Back to the Beach podcasts recently.
Yeah, last week.
Oh my god. Is this the universe kind of telling you something? Are you going to be doing back to the beach?
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually just last October, a few months ago, got in touch with Lori Loughlin, who played Sandy in Back to the Beach.
There are signs from the universe going on here.
That's what I'm
There
saying.
really is.
Back to the Beach too. What's up?
Well, this is the best thing now because Steve, the part of his watching the box, he has to give a fully unbiased opinion whether he liked the movie or didn't. So this adds an extra level of discomfort for him if he really didn't like this movie. So
No, not at all. Not at all. I always say, regardless of what movie it is that comes out, I always try and give it as honest an appraisal as possible. Some movies I'm going to like, some I'm not going to like, some I'm going to be kind of indifferent about. It's just, we're human beings. We've all got individual tastes. So yeah, I came at this was just like I do with all the other ones, with just a fresh mind. And
don't you dare be indifferent. Don't be indifferent.
Okay, I need to be very, very careful in how I phrase this because it's going to make me sound incredibly stupid. But I didn't get it. Not that I didn't understand it, but I didn't get it.
Oh, this is uncomfortable.
Okay, let's just get the plot out of the way with first of all. You've got a middle-aged couple played by Frankie Vaughan and Annette. I'm going to butcher her surname. For some reason, I wanted to say Luke Vaughan.
Frankie Avalon, you douche.
This is why we don't travel.
Yeah, I knew I'd do that. I knew I would do that. All week I've been saying, no, it's not Frankie.
We're on a wild ride for this one already. So
Andrew, he didn't even watch the movie. We know that now.
No, I did.
We now know this.
And Annette, Funicello? Is that how you pronounce the surname?
Yeah, Funicello. No, Funicello. Yes,
Funicello. Yeah. And they're a couple who have just got into this rut in the middle of the Midwest, and all their youthful days of spending their time on the beach and going to parties and just chilling out and surfing and all the rest of it is a distant memory. Until one day, on a layover in LA, visiting their daughter, who just happens to have an amazing boyfriend. They start to rediscover their joy of being close to the sea and the youthful fun which they lost. So in terms of an actual plot, it's real easy to follow.
Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy one.
In terms of understanding it, it's difficult because there are a lot of touchstones in there, which, for me in particular, you needed to have the reference points for. It felt like you needed to have seen more of those earlier movies, like Beach Blanket Bingo or
Muscle Beach Party,
or all those other films that they were in, to kind of get most of the references. And there's also a lot of stuff in there which not necessarily translates across the pond because we didn't get the same kind of shows. Like, for example, I knew that there was the guy from Gilligan's Island, but I've never seen Gilligan's Island. It was never something which really came out over here. So I didn't really get the references because of that. I knew who he was, I knew what the show was, but in terms of the individual clues, it's not really.
I'm still not sure that you actually have seen the movie.
I did, and I want to ask you right now: did you do your own stunt when you got chucked out the window?
No, I didn't. And I was really, I mean, I wasn't like mad or anything, but it was so disappointing because it was something that I was actually looking forward to doing and something that I could do. I'm an athlete. And they were like, no, absolutely not, for insurance purposes. If you get remotely injured, then we're screwed. And so I understood it, but I really wanted to do it. But no, yeah, that wasn't me.
I know.
Yeah. Also, because I didn't surf either, they had to get footage of me surfing, and so they took, and because I didn't surf, and by the way, I was learning to surf because I grew up in San Diego, and a friend was teaching me. On the second day he was teaching me, Jaws came out.
Oh man.
Never went out again. Didn't go out again. And so never learned how to surf. And so they hired my stunt double to surf, and they flew him to Hawaii.
I will say this though, you look like you were in great shape for that role. Were you training a lot for it? Or was that just you at the time?
No, that was just me looking good. I will say though, that I had just moved there from New York City just a few months before, and so I was pretty pale. My whole body was pretty white, and so every day that I went to work, they had to cover me head to toe with makeup, and so that was something I had to sit through every day in your underwear, and they're just caking it on. And then also I had to shave my chest all the time. And that was a pain. I tried the Nair thing, that just makes it hang off, and then that was a rash, and then that was a nightmare to cover up, and then it was
just when it grows back as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was my favorite soap on a rope, and look at this. It's just rope.
It was kind of instigated by Frankie Avalon, as far as I know. So are you
Not Frankie Vaughan.
Not Frankie Vaughan, no.
Okay.
Although Stevie Ray Vaughan shows up later.
Yes, he does. Yes.
I'll bring that up. So obviously they want to bring back the beach movies, so it was kind of a throwback to those earlier movies. It would be directed by Lyndall Hobbs, which I believe was her first movie.
Mm-hmm. And we're still friends. We still get together, and I've stayed in touch with her daughter, Lola Rose, who played the punk baby in Back to the Beach. That was Lyndall's daughter.
Yeah, those punks, they were very 80s, weren't they?
Yeah, the surfing punks.
Yeah.
They were great. Joe Holland, who played Zed, he passed away. He died very young. One of those just horrible aneurysm things. I can't remember exactly what specifically it was, but yeah, he died, I think, in 94. He was fantastic as Zed. I mean, really, between him and Bobby, Damian Slade, I mean, they practically were stealing, I thought, the scenes that they were in, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want me to conjugate that for you, Pop?
I think many people here in the UK, as you say, Steve, were not really attuned to the beach movies and stuff like that. I think most people would know Frankie Avalon from Grease, if anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the beauty school dropout scene.
Yeah, fabulous in Grease. I knew Annette Funicello. I'll say it quickly. Because I had actually seen some of these surfing movies kind of growing up, especially Muscle Beach Party, which is probably one of the best ones she was in. As you mentioned earlier, Lori Loughlin. Fantastic in Summerland. If any people have seen Summerland, she's amazing in it. And of course, our man, Tommy Hinckley, who's fantastic in... but he's a real stand-up in Men at Work, and he's a real fall-on in Star Trek Generations.
Yes. Yes. If you don't know what we're listening to, then go and listen to his episode, which the number is down on the screen somewhere. Trust me, it's a brilliant story.
From the original Star Trek. And by the way, lovely people. They're all so cool. Except the one guy.
But I have to tell you, Dan, on Back to the Beach, I can't remember if I said this in the other one, about Lori Loughlin's fiance when he'd show up. Did we talk about?
No, I can't remember this one. Go ahead.
So he was a big financial dude for like Shearson Lehman or somebody big in New York. And because she's from New York, she grew up in Long Island. And so he would come out, he would fly out and visit from time to time on the set. So I had the crew let me know whenever he was on the set. And so then I would make a point to let him get settled in. And then I would come and knock on her door of her dressing room. And I go, hey, Lori, it's Tommy. Do you want to work on our makeout scene? And then there'd be a little pause and he'd go, very funny, Tommy, ha ha. I go, hey, Michael, welcome to the set.
At least you weren't going, hey, Michael, do you want to work on our makeout scene?
Well, as I understand it, Frankie Avalon couldn't go by the name of Frankie Avalon during this movie. He actually go by the name of the Big Kahuna. And as I understand
Annette's husband, yeah.
Annette's husband, yes. And I believe this was down to rights issues with those earlier studio beach movies as a character name. So...
Yeah, that was interesting because the thing is that, and it was funny because she was always in the Beast movies. She was Dee Dee or Dolores.
Yes.
And so they could actually refer to her as Annette. So they do call her by her name, Annette. And that's how everybody knew her anyway from the Mickey Mouse Club and all that. So that was like the bonus that they could actually call her Annette. But yeah, he was referred to as Annette's husband in the credits. But yeah, largely the Big Kahuna, which was hilarious.
Yeah. And every variation thereof.
And you're the big chihuahua.
Kahuna.
But anyway, so what I wanted to bring up of what we have, one of your regular guests has in common is the cinematographer was the famous Bruce Surtees, who was the DP on Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh.
He also did all the Clint Eastwood movies, like all of them. And he did Bad Boys. He did
George Gallo's Bad Boys.
Yeah, he did Risky Business, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a big DP. I don't know how we got him, but yeah, he was great.
Well, it's Beverly Hills Cop was Paramount. So he might have
be the same.
Yes.
Might have been under contract to them, especially if he did Beverly Hills Cop 2, because that was the same year as.
I don't think he did Beverly Hills Cop 2. I think he just did the first one.
Oh, well, that's really interesting. That's a nice bit of research that you've done there, Tony. I like it.
I did.
Well, speaking of people who crossed over, there's quite a number of cameos in this one.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, that is
Paul Rubens.
One which I didn't get more than any else was, why the hell is Pee Wee Herman here? Why is he singing Surfing Bird? He's not in earlier in the film. I
asked that in a movie theater once.
Yeah. I think that was one thing that about the movie, because I actually think that it holds up actually really well, I think, because it really is campy. If you're trying to find anything else in it more than just campy family fun, then you're going to come up short. It really is just pure campy fun, and it's actually, I actually think, like, I was rewatching one of the scenes where they come to their place, which is like this cool place that's on the pier there.
It is actually, yeah.
And he actually has little Bobby ramming his head into the door. Oh my God. And there was just a lot of stuff like that. And it was actually really interesting, funny. And the idea that, Zed was the bad guy, and yet he shows up to the pajama party.
Yeah.
And he's like not some evil, lascivious dude. He's just a dude that's just having fun. And then they say, "You better leave." And he's like, "Okay. See ya."
Yeah. And then right at the end
of,
where he's having the surf off.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he notices the wave coming in, he's like, "Dude, come back in. Come back in. For God's sake, you're gonna hurt yourself." So yeah, it just goes to prove that there's a little bit of depth to these characters. But I will say this though, talking about campy fun, my favorite joke in the entire movie is where he's on the surfboard at the end, and it's just the painfully obvious rear screen projection. And then at one point he then switches and he's hitting golf balls off the top of the surfboard. And then someone comes into shot and asks for his autograph. And it suddenly turns into a Zucker film. I did have a good laugh at that one, I'm not gonna lie.
That got me as well when I first saw it. Obviously,
I love that they lean into the absurdity of it all, because they know that it looks terrible, but then they make a joke out of it, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that's why, for me, it still holds up, because they did lean into it. I mean, they did. I mean, you have, Fishbone, a ska punk band, and they're in it, and they're dancing, and she's dancing in like a pink and black polka dot wetsuit that's got like a little skirt on it, singing Jamaican ska. I mean, that's just a lot of, it's just a whole lot of crazy, and they were unafraid, as you said, to lean into it. But they were really just fun to work with. Annette made a point to seek me out on my first day on the set. And, I was in the smallest little honey wagon, and she had a huge RV, and she said, "Hey, welcome to the set. So happy to have you, but I'm going to be on the set all day. So please, I know I got you in one of those little honey wagons. Please come and stay in my RV the rest of the day. I got it stocked with food and beverages. Just help yourself, make yourself at home."
Oh,
And that's the kind of person that she was. Yeah.
And the kind of sadness around it, obviously, I don't know if we mentioned this the last time we had you on, Annette, around the time of this movie is when she came down with multiple sclerosis.
Yep.
During the filming, they kind of kept it quiet during the entire production, and then after the filming is when it became public.
Yeah.
And she had said that, it was extremely long filming days that they had that kind of exasperated it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, were you kind of aware, or did you find out afterwards?
I found out afterwards. I didn't know. She was so kind to me, and I had written her a letter, a longish letter that I wanted to send to her. And you don't know how to write something like that to somebody. And I was 27 when I shot that. And I don't know, how do you write a letter like that? Do you send a letter like that? And it was just, and I held onto that letter, and I'd rewrite it a little bit. I'd tweak it as the years go by. And I just kind of wanted to send it. And I could never do it. And then of course, then she did pass. And I was just something that to this day, I still regret that I never, her and her husband, Glenn, they train pacers, that pull a little buggy. They race those at Santa Anita, and they always invited me to join them and to that. And I never took her up on it. And yeah, so there's just one of those things you just look back and go, oh God, I just didn't let that happen. But but it was great. Everybody was wonderful. I'm just trying to think of okay, I will say, because since I brought the conversation down,
Not at all.
there was one more thing that was a first time for me, was when I'm carrying the board. I'm carrying my surfboard, she's kicking me out, and apparently they were running out of time and they had to go for lunch. And so I'm like, okay, well, because she goes, don't tell me, we have to shoot it right now, we don't have time. I go, I know, but I don't know if I'm going to do it in my right hand, my left hand. Do I do it in 4 paces? Do I do it in 6? Do I turn around? She goes, Tommy, we don't have time. Just do it. I go, but I don't know how. She goes, Tommy, do it. And I just did it. And they shot it, and everybody ran off to lunch. And I went into the bathroom that was right there, and I just started crying. I just started sobbing, because I had never had that experience as an actor in my life. And it's, there's a crew full of people, and that was a tough one. But you learn stuff, and we're still, I understand it more now, because that was just my 3rd job and my first movie. So I was really the young gun, but yeah, fun stories.
What's the matter?
Well, you did absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, I mean, I've got a real guilty pleasure of this movie, and I love discovering all the movies, especially, hidden gems of the 80s. And I think this kind of falls into that. And people now are just starting to rediscover it. And it is a very kind of innocent movie in a way.
Sure.
And it's one that you can happily watch with the kids. You've got, if you love your music, you've got Dick Dale and Stevie Ray Vaughan, like, jamming out some great tracks.
Quick
and one
question,
thing I really got to ask,
was that Dee Snider?
No.
Okay, yeah. There's the scene where Annette's husband wakes up after a night on the Source, and there's a guy who jumps off the top of the bunk with round glasses on. It looks so much like Dee Snider. I wanted to ask. Glad he cleared that up.
He was actually in a punk band, a surf punk band, for real. And I can't remember what his name was, but but he was a real musician and a punk singer for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's really one question here before I kind of wrap up on Back to the Beach. At any time on the entire set, did you see any jars of Skippy peanut butter?
No, I did not, and not in her RV either. But I did see that scene. That was hilarious.
In case you don't know, Steve, she was the kind of spokesman for Skippy peanut butter.
I kind of guessed. Don't ask me why.
I just have this vision that she
together.
gifted everybody with a jar of Skippy peanut butter at the end of the shoot, or something like that. That's still in some people's drawers to this day.
All I'm picturing right now is just like the line of the extras at the end of the day. Okay, how much do we owe you? $17.40. There's your money. And here's a jar of peanut butter. Next.
Oh my God, that would have been hilarious.
Right, Skipper.
One of the amazing things here about this movie that many people may not realize, this movie got 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert.
Yes. Yes. It didn't get one. It didn't get one from Steve. But yeah, Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up. For sure.
There you go. All right, I'll do it that for the lack of context for British viewers, but there you go.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, that's it from Back to the Beach. Obviously, Steve is a bit indifferent due to his Philistine knowledge of the American surf movie. But any excuse to have Tommy Hinckley back with us is a true bonus.
I did recognize Don Adams, though.
Get smart.
Yeah, Inspector Gadget.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. All right. You got me on that. Whoa, not Matthew Broderick? I'm shocked.
No.
Okay. With what's in the box kind of over with there, I guess it's time to see into some anniversaries. Stop laughing, Steve. It's no laughing matter.
Very unprofessional.
Watch them again all of the time, or we get them on Prime for free. We only know how old they are when we learn their anniversary.
The anniversaries. That part of the show every week where you start to feel really, really old. As we tell you the movies that were released in decades past on this very week and give you a little bit of history about them. You got to feel really old when I pull the first one out. I think all of us are going to feel that much older.
Okay.
Can you believe, Steve? In 1994 this week, 30 years ago, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective was released.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I remember seeing this at the cinema.
Yeah.
Wow.
How has that been 30 years?
Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, was that kind of his first big movie that kind of unleashed him upon the world?
It was his
first
breakout
one in
movie.
the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd been in such things as Once Bitten, Peggy Sue Got Married, Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah.
The Deadpool, funnily enough, he's in a little bit of a Dirty Harry movie. And
wait, was he in Earth Girls Are Easy?
Yes. Yeah. He was
that the one
red
with Gina
alien.
Davis?
Yeah.
Gina Davis? Okay. You know who directed that?
It was what's her name?
Julian Temple.
Julian Temple, yeah.
Who did Absolute Beginners. I met him. I read for one of the parts in Earth Girls Are Easy. I had just had my wisdom teeth pulled. The side of my face was huge. I had 4 wisdom teeth impacted. Had to pull them all. My face is huge. I went to the audition anyway, and he cast me in that movie. And my agent is like, I think we can get more money than we're offering. I went, okay. And they moved on to the next guy.
It was obviously Jim Carrey.
Good luck. Ace Ventura was the big break for Jim Carrey and the director, Tom Shadyac. Not Tom Caddyshack, Tom Shadyac. So
Say that 5 times fast.
Yes. And this was from Morgan Cheap, or Morgan Creek as they're professionally known. Morgan Cheap. Who had this project for quite a while. This was a script that was bounding around for quite a while. But both Tom Shadyac and Jim Carrey genuinely believed that this movie was going to end their careers as they were making it. They were in full belief, but so they decided, you know what, we're going to steer right into the skid on it and just go all out and just have fun with it. Now
it worked. I mean, that year Jim Carrey just did. You had this, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber.
In the same year.
In the same year, on the bounce. I don't think there's anybody really that's had that kind of a success.
No, it made him the second highest grossing actor in Hollywood in 1994. From those 3 films, his breakout year.
Yeah.
He was so lucky to get all 3 of those films, and all 3 of them became massive hits that year. And he was only behind Tom Hanks at the box office. Jim Carrey was never intended to be Ace Ventura. Do you know who the person they went to who ultimately turned it down?
I'm going to guess Robin Williams.
Nope. The person who dropped out was Rick Moranis.
Really?
Oh.
Wow, that would be a very different movie.
Rick Moranis, so Rick Moranis turned it down. Then Adam Sandler turned it down. David Alan Grier turned it down. The role was also offered to Judd Nelson, Rob Schneider, Alan Rickman.
Oh, you mean?
All right, then.
Yes.
Oh my God!
It was also
a dolphin, not a porpoise. Finkel is Einhorn. I could do that all day. I really could.
Also, they were going to change the gender for Whoopi Goldberg to be Ace Ventura.
We've already had Theodore Rex. We don't need her to be a detective again.
Oh God, we'd all forgotten about that. And one actor in particular lobbied very hard for that role, but surprisingly was turned down. But I'll tell you the reason why. The person who lobbied extremely hard for the role of Ace Ventura was
Sean Young.
No. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It was Jack Lemmon.
What?
Jack Lemmon lobbied hard for this role, and he was turned down because of his age.
Oh, can you imagine if he'd got the part and Walter Matthau played Einhorn? Oh dear.
I just watched Jack Lemmon in 12 Angry Men the other day. I'm never going to get that out of my head now.
Such a good film. It's a really, really funny film. I can't. I've lost count the number of times I used to watch this on repeat when I got the VHS.
Yeah.
Ending in 2024 doesn't hold up well. Not really. It's quite a troublesome ending in today's climate.
There is a lot of criticism from the LGBT community because of transphobia.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is probably justified, but I think with a lot of things, and I have always said this kind of stuff, you have to have a look at it in the time frame that it was made.
Yeah,
at the time,
as you should with everything.
Yeah, not that I'm condoning it, but at the time, it was more acceptable to go after that joke.
Jim Carrey was a front runner for Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park. Yeah. And losing out to Jeff Goldblum. So he was in the running for that role. The story of Ace Ventura gets more and more bizarre as we go on, trust me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Ooh, ah. And then later on, there's running and screaming.
That's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
Loser.
After doing all my research, I needed to have a look at this even more. And I did notice some things. For one, on Einhorn's desk in the scene where she kisses him and stuff like that, if you look on her desk, she has a very well placed oranges and banana that kind of gives away the ending.
It's slightly suggestive, shall we say?
It is very suggestive. Also, how can we not mention that Randall Tex Cobb opens this movie? I was always wondering about why the character had black eyes. From doing a bit of research, apparently he showed up to set with those black eyes. Apparently he'd been in some bar scuffles before the shooting day. He just showed up with the black eyes that he has in that movie.
I don't give a rat's ass.
Oh. Before it became Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and this script was around for quite a while, it almost ended up as an Ernest P. Worrell movie.
Oh my God.
The script almost got retconned into a Ernest Saves Animals, I guess, or Ernest Saves or something like that.
Kind of see that.
I could see it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as good, but yeah.
No.
But yes, the movie had a $15 million budget, starring, I think Sean Young and maybe Tone Lowe were the only really known people in it.
Yep.
Courtney Cox, of course, was in it. She has apparently refused to watch the movie ever again.
Yeah, but that was
a good time making it.
That was Courtney Cox just before Friends. Her stock was not high at all.
Exactly. But the movie, on a $15 million budget, made $107 million.
Wow.
It was a ridiculous hit. It was huge. It beat movies like The Naked Gun 33 1/3. And Tom Shattuck and Jim Carrey, apparently, after this film became a hit, they had 150 offers of projects landing on their doorstep. That everyone wanted them. They were that hot. And when you consider that Jim Carrey was probably number 16 or 17 on the call sheet for that role, and they went to practically every other actor beforehand, it's quite something. As I said, it was the start of the trifecta for Jim Carrey that year with The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, and then he went into Batman and Robin, and The Cable Guy, of course, Tommy, which you were in yourself.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See, there was a segue coming up there. The critics hated Ace Ventura. Across the board, the critics thought it was dumb and stupid, and it was just a mugging movie and everything. But there was a real tonal shift in comedy at that time, and this was the first real shift in that comedy. And adolescents were really latching onto it. We all knew the catchphrases. I mean, we were in school around the time, so
it was
everywhere.
everywhere.
That movie was
Alrighty
everywhere.
Then that was the big one. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Obviously, that led to Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. There was obviously a Ace Ventura Jr. movie that Warner Brothers. An animated
Son of the Mass territory.
And Jim Carrey they've approached him to come back and do Ace Ventura a number of times, but he's always turned it down. But now Ace Ventura is being rebooted at Amazon. And it's being written by the writers of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. So it's going to be interesting, at least. But
do they have a star attached yet?
No, you've got a chance, Tommy. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll be just like Jack Lemmon.
Good work. But yes, just to make you feel extremely old, Ace Ventura is 30 years old this week.
Wow.
I have a feeling that both of you are going to react very positively to this one. 10 years ago this week, the Lego Movie was released. Yes, the Lego Movie. Directed by Lord and Miller.
Already.
10 years, yeah. Yeah, directed by Lord and Miller. It's the best movie they've ever done. I don't care what you say. The Lego Movie is hilarious. It absolutely is.
It really is.
With a huge wave of vocal talent in there. So you got, Chris Pratt. Also, you have Will Ferrell in there. You also have Elizabeth Banks in there.
I love her. Love Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah,
she's so good.
She's very good. Probably one of the best things since the Hunger Games, because I think she's amazing in the Hunger Games, and that's the Elizabeth Banks role that I really appreciate.
I like Zack and Miri make a porno, but that's for different reasons.
Well, this has some noticeable things about it. For one, in his entire career, the Lego Movie was the first animated film that Morgan Freeman put his voice to.
That's surprising, actually.
Yeah,
very surprising. I was disputing it at first, and then I was going through. I was like, no, he must have voiced something. And then you get too used to him doing the voiceover for pretty much everything that you honestly believe he's done something animated. This was also
March of the Penguins and stuff.
March of the Penguins especially.
They're birds that think they're fish.
This was the first movie that was produced by Warner Animation Group. So this was the new group for Warner Animation. This was their movie.
Yeah, because prior to that, it was just Warner Animation, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then they rebranded. Yeah, I remember because the shield, when that turns around at the beginning of the movies, it's got this Warner Animation, the WAG.
Yes.
Thing, which is different. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a great movie. It's such a fun concept, and the way that it's executed, particularly the second half. Are you listening, Ryan Johnson? That is how you subvert expectations.
That's your reference of the week.
You don't destroy 40 years worth of franchise. No, that is how you do it.
Well, I've got a kind of note on that in a minute, but I will say Warner Brothers had very little confidence in this film that it would make any money. That they refused to fully finance it. Village Roadshow had to come up with 50% of the financing for this project because they genuinely believed this was not going to be a hit. Right? Which is bizarre to think about now when you realize that this was a 60 to 65 million budget. This movie made 468.1 million on its release.
Whoa!
Everything is awesome.
Wow!
Way before
I had no idea.
Way before Barbie became this huge thing, the real toy that made that money was the Lego Movie.
And I think more than anything else, it's that key balancing point between having something that the kids are going to like and having something that the grown-ups are going to like.
Yes.
And it hits it perfectly. More to the point more to the point as well, it's actually quite an intelligent movie. And
Yes.
all joking aside, it does that twist. It does subvert your expectations. Horrible phrase, I know. But it does it in such a wonderful way.
Have you seen this, Tommy?
I actually have not seen the Lego movie.
You
Now, I
should.
feel like I've seen it because, there are so many scenes and highlights that come up all over the place that I feel like I've seen it, but I have not. I'm surprised on how popular the toy Legos remain today.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're as big as ever. I mean, there's a couple theme parks. I mean, there's you see them at the Super Bowl, at any sporting event. They have some kind of a structure that's made 100% out of Legos. That's like, huge. It's really quite a marketing thing that they've been able to establish, Legos.
Yeah,
I think it's because more than anything else, it's the ultimate toy that lets you create everything. Everybody can do it, and I think that's why it's so successful to this day. There is no entry barrier. The only entry barrier is what you've got up here, and if you can think it, you can build it.
Yes, very true. And Lord and Miller behind this movie, there's so much love to pop culture and everything else in there. I mean, for one, I had the little Lego spaceman set, and yes, the helmet did crack at the chin bit. And in the movie, he has that crack because it was the most common complaint in that Lego thing, and I absolutely love that.
Oh, that's genius!
It's a CGI movie, but it's CGI as stop motion.
It's great.
So you honestly believe it's a
fantastic.
stop motion film, but it's all CGI'd, and it is brilliant the way that they've done it.
If you get the chance to see it in 3D as well, that looks at its best. It pops right off the screen or into the screen, whichever way, it just pops. It looks great.
I will also say, all respect to Mr. Clooney, but the Lego movie has the most underrated Batman of all time.
No, right. No, that's what people say. 100%.
Lego Batman.
Relax, everybody. I'm here.
Batman. What was that? Will Arnett?
Will Arnett,
yeah.
And he's made he got his own spin-off movie, the Lego Batman movie.
First try.
Oh yeah, I'll say it because you have obviously you have the link to Star Wars in there. So this movie is really a multiverse movie because you have Harry Potter franchise, you have the DC franchise, you have Star Wars characters who are owned by
Lord
Fox
of the Rings,
or Lucasfilm, but Disney only a week at the most after the people at the Lego movie and Warner Brothers got permission to use Star Wars characters. The week later is when Disney bought Star Wars. So they just got that permission right in time. Wonder Woman appears in this, and it's voiced by Kobe Smulders, who at one point was originally supposed to be the live-action Wonder Woman before Gal Gadot came along.
Oh, Canada.
You're nuttier than a Tim Hortons maple log.
Wonder Woman in the Lego movie is the first ever time Wonder Woman has appeared in a movie.
Wait, what do you...
Really?
What do you mean?
Yes. So the character of Wonder Woman in any form has never been in a movie before the Lego movie.
That's
We're
so
all trying
weird.
to think now, aren't we?
Yeah, that just doesn't seem right. But
Linda
I
Carter
can't come up.
never appeared in a movie, and Gal Gadot came afterwards. So the Lego movie is the debut of Wonder Woman in a big screen feature.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Quite a shock, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, on release, the Lego movie became the most commercially successful Warner Brothers animated film of all time, and the most critically acclaimed since The Iron Giant was released.
Wow, that's high praise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is worth it.
Would you cancel my 2 o'clock? This next meeting could run a little bit deadly.
Was not expecting it to be as funny as it was not expecting it to be as well directed and produced as it was not expecting the animation to be as good as it was, considering that everything is, like you say, it's this stop motion kind of feel to it. But yeah, it definitely track it down. And this isn't just for you, Tommy, this is for everyone else who hasn't seen it. Track it down. It's easy. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's got to be on.
And I want to hear,
HBO
Tommy, I want to
Max or
hear
whatever.
what you think about it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, that is the anniversaries for this week. A bit short and sweet. So, Steve, there's only one question left to ask.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Oh, what's in the box? The part.
What's
of the show
in the
that-
box?
Yes. The part of the show that Andy likes to torture me with.
See, you say that, but you know, you enjoy them as much as you hate them. You know, you found some real
5
gems in this.
hours. That's all I'm gonna say.
Until the end of the world.
Yeah.
The 5 hour
5
long
hours.
version. Jeez.
Right. Well, for those of you who don't know what What's in the Box is all about, let me break it down for you. Andy is going to pull out the name of 2 movies from a little box that he has over there on his side of the screen. Now, these movies are certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, or Andy has certified them interesting enough to pull out and just let us see what they're all about. He's going to put... I'm glad you like that. He's going to put his hand into the box and pull out the name of a film. Now, if I have seen it, then he's going to keep delving into the box to pull out names of films until we find those that I haven't seen, and then I've got to go away and watch them before we record our next episode. So just like at the start of this episode, we had Wedding Crashers and Back to the Beach. This could be anything. Could be drama. Could be sci-fi. Could be comedy. Could be anything at all.
It's the luck of the draw.
Yes. So with that in mind, let's cue the music.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay. So, we're going for number 1. Let's have a look.
Please be short. Please be short. Please be short. Please be short.
Okay. So, for number 1 this week.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice segue, actually. Should be quite nice. For one, it is a shorter movie, which is good. And it's animated. And it's
Okay.
from Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Steve, first of all, and I know you haven't seen it already, so I know you're watching this one. From DC Animation, your first movie is Justice League versus the Fatal Five.
Okay. No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay. Did you ever see the Justice League cartoon when it came on?
No, I was a little bit too old at the time that came out. That kind of passed me by. That was on Cartoon Network or whatever it was at the time, and I wasn't watching it then.
Hey, it's one you can watch with the kids. Even better.
Is it? Is it a J. Oliva joint?
He may have storyboarded on it. You never know. He didn't direct it, I don't believe. But
Okay.
he sometimes works on the storyboard side. Okay, so that's 1.
That's 1.
Well, so far. Let's go for number 2.
Maybe watch the kids. Maybe watch that with the kids.
Yeah, why not? Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. I wonder, is this 2007? Could be.
No, not another one from 2007. Please, dear God.
Okay.
To be fair,
Steve.
it's been a while since 2007's come out.
The movie stars Halle Berry,
Okay.
Benicio del Toro,
Okay.
David Duchovny, and it's called Things We Lost in the Fire.
God, I've never even heard of it.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, well, there we go.
Name rings a bell, but no, I've not seen it.
First 2 out of the box. Justice League versus the Fatal Five and Things We Lost in the Fire. So you've got something to watch with the kids and something to watch with the missus. There you go.
Okay.
Fantastic. Will you be joining us on this watch along, Tommy? Well, not necessarily here, but will you be watching these movies as well?
I will go. You know what? I'm going to focus on Lego, on the Lego movie.
It's a good
Good
choice.
call. Good call.
We want to hear about it. And as soon as you report back, I'm going to let people know on the show what you thought of it.
Yes.
I know you like your humor, so you'll laugh. Okay, so Tommy, what's been going on, dude? I know that back in November we just missed each other kind of when I was in LA. There was every opportunity that you were going to be there when I was there, and
Yeah,
we just missed each other.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, I shot a commercial out there that was a little bit different. I shot a commercial for Walmart, but it wasn't your typical commercial. They shot it like a Hallmark Christmas movie. So I was out there for a month shooting this movie, Christmas movie that they were going to break into a bunch of like 23 spots. And the idea was that you could, anything that we wore was something that you could buy at Walmart. And the idea was on your screen, you could click on it and then it would take up your screen. And then while you're watching the scene, you could move your mouse and click on an item of clothing and buy it right there on the spot.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I played.
Hoping that's not what that thumbs up was a minute ago. This is Bill the
But it was a fun shoot, you know. You would appreciate this. There is a lens that a famous cinematographer, English, developed called the Dunstan eye.
All right.
And his daughter, Erica Dunstan, she's directed The Americans, that TV series, The Americans, One Tree Hill, and she was hired to direct this, and she was amazing to work with. Yeah, so it was fun, and it's been running. It was a holiday spot, so I don't know that it still runs, but but it was a lot of fun and great working with Erica, and then they have a bunch of young great actors. Caitlin Sparks was fantastic as the lead. I think she's going to be a real up and comer, Caitlin Sparks. But I was sorry that we just didn't go just a tiny bit longer because I could have seen you.
I know. Me and Rana Glickman there at the smokehouse saying, Tommy Hinkley is seriously being missed. We had a great night as well. Rana is absolutely amazing. So
yeah,
you were the focus of our conversation pretty much nearly all night.
Yeah, well, she's a special human being, though, honestly.
Very, very special. I know she's watching now because she knows you're on. So there you go. We just embarrassed her. Hi, Rana. It's fantastic. We always love having you back, and I know it's not going to be too long before we've got you back again, especially when it's time to call on Team Mirish to face Team Hennessy. Ooh. Between George Gallo and Richard Mirish, that's a face-off.
Oh my God. Yeah. The East Coast versus the West Coast going on there. There's going to be some beef, isn't there?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Holy hell.
But we're glad you're doing well. It's great having you as the first kind of guest that we've done on the New Year run of shows. And we just want to say thank you very much.
Trust me.
So, Steve, where can people find us?
Yes, flittering up at some point on the screen, I'm not sure where because I've not edited this video at the time of recording, will be links to all the socials. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Reddit, we're on LinkedIn, we're on... pick a social platform. Chances are we're there. We're probably even on Tumblr. You know, we've got a MySpace page, likely or not. I don't know. It's glittery and gives you a seizure every time you try and log in. That's all I know.
Yes. We are the type of show that now we get people poaching our name. We see you on there, Mr. Poddywood, who's come on and suddenly decided to latch on to all of our momentum.
Yeah.
There's only one Poddywood, and it's copyrighted, by the way.
Although
trademarked to myself.
This, though, hello to everybody in India and Indonesia. I know we've got some big supporters out there. Hi, guys. But yes, we're not him. He's not us. Just sign into those accounts that I just mentioned. Or even better, why don't you sign into Patreon? account, and thereby you can, for the price of a cup of coffee a month, get elongated versions of these shows. You can also get the shows a little bit earlier, and don't tell anyone else, but you can also get exclusive content.
Yes. And the good thing is, for the price of coffee, you can hear us say the word without it being bleeped.
Because YouTube are a bunch
That's
of
the price
bastards.
of admission alone.
Yes.
You should tune into the John Ashton episode where he talks about him and Robert De Niro. We broke the record.
Yes. However, with that in mind and ringing in our ears, our virginal ears, I just want to say, Tommy, it is great having you back on the show. You're always a bright breath of fresh air in this in our series. So thank you very much for coming along and spending some time.
It's always a pleasure, you guys. I really, really enjoy doing the show with you guys. We always have a lot of fun, and I'm always learning something as well. It's really an educational program.
It is. It really is.
If only we could get the grants.
Hey, you guys, take
money.
care.
Yeah.
Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon, Tommy. Take care.
Bye.
And as for everybody else, we will see you next week.
Bye.